And in the season finale, Barry heads back to the hotel and goes to see Fuchs. And Fuchs is thrilled to see him because he thought he was dead. Barry doesn't feel the same way. He grabs the money and puts it in a bag and says, "I'm taking this. It's mine." And when Fuchs tries to stop him, Barry lays him out and leaves. Fuchs heads to go visit Goran to let him know that Barry's alive. But before he can get to Goran, he sees Hank first. In the living room, they have all of these guys ready to go to war, and Hank tells them that everybody's kind of on edge because of the Bolivian thing. They make their way to the garage where Goran is still very pissed off at Fuchs. He feels like he screwed everything up by forcing him into a war with the Bolivians. Fuchs tries to bring up the point that it was Goran who said he wanted the stash house, and Fuchs just kind of pushed him to go get what he wanted, but Goran doesn't want to hear it. He then tells the whole room that Barry's alive, which comes as a huge shock to Hank. He can't believe it. But Fuchs is about to double-cross Barry because he tells Goran, "I know where he is and I can give him to you. All I want in return is to know that me and you are good." But Goran isn't interested in the deal because he knows where to find Barry. He knows all about the acting class. And that definitely puts a wrench in Fuchs' plans. One of Goran's men then punches Fuchs' tooth out. They strap him down into a chair and they introduce him to the new torturer of the group. Everybody then leaves Fuchs and the new guy into the room to let the new guy kill Fuchs and chop him up. Goran's whole plan is to kill Fuchs and then head to the acting class to kill Barry. But Hank points out, if I'm Barry, I'm not sticking around for this acting class. I'm leaving town. Goran, however, has heard enough from Hank. He doesn't really think he's loyal, and he thinks he's an idiot. And he's partly right. Hank isn't loyal. He sneaks away and calls up Barry, who has made his way to the beach, to let Barry know that they're coming for him at the acting class and he should avoid it. So if they're heading for him, he might as well head and kill them first. He heads over to the Chechen's house, where Goran is getting into it with the new guy about why Fuchs is still alive. And that's when Barry shoots up the entire room, killing all of the Chechens, including Goran, and leaving Fuchs alive. The two then get out of there before they have to kill any more Chechens. And the only Chechen left is Hank. He drops by the garage to give everybody some refreshments, and that's when he sees everybody's dead. And then he hears police copters, because Moss and Loach got a warrant to search the property. And Hank knows they're coming for him. He's able to get away and sneak off to the stash house, where he meets up with Cristoval. Or at least it looks like Cristoval. It might be another Bolivian. But Hank is now firmly in control, and he plans on linking up with the Bolivians and taking over the entire town. It's ironic, too, because they're watching the police press conference where they're putting it all together. Ryan and Taylor working together to put these two drug families at a war together so they could gain from the profits. Barry doesn't see any of it, because Barry drove Fuchs to the airport and told him to get lost. He never wants to speak to him again. Fuchs has no choice but to leave town, although he's doing so without his tooth. Barry wouldn't allow him to grab it at Goran's house, and it is picked up by the police. After he drops off Fuchs, Barry heads to the bar, where he lets Sally know he's done with the acting class. And she can't believe it, because the two work really well together. One of the reasons why he's dropping the class is because he doesn't know if he can ever get to that state again. He doesn't want to dig deep into that process. Sally reveals to him that she used to be married, and the guy used to beat the crap out of her. In order to get that emotional on stage, she thinks about that moment in her life, and it helps. It's tough, but it makes her a better actor. She then tells Barry that she wants to do a play with him, called The Front Page. Barry's never heard of it, but he also can't say no to Sally. A couple weeks later, they're practicing their lines for The Front Page at a beautiful lakeside home that belongs to Gene. And Barry's life couldn't be any better. He's now with Sally, they're happy, and Gene is with Janice. Janice arrives and Gene starts showing her around the place. She then notices that the poster for the show doesn't say Barry Berkman, it says Barry Block. And Barry explains that's his acting name, it just sounded better. The four then have dinner that night, where after discussing Barry's goals in acting, Gene tells Janice and Sally that the first time he ever heard Barry's monologue, it was amazing. It was all about this soldier who was only good at killing and came back and wanted to be an actor. He was blown away by it. Barry, however, gets extremely uncomfortable, because if Janice is smart, she can easily put all of this together. She doesn't lead on that she's on to anything, though. Just continuing normal dinner chit-chat. But she heard all of it and did file it away, and late in the night, she sneaks off to the dock to covertly look up Barry Block on Facebook. Barry Block leads her to Chris Lucato, who leads her to Taylor. She now knows that it was Barry the entire time, but she has a big issue. Barry is standing right behind her. Barry tries to explain that he used to work for some people that had him do terrible things, and he realized what he was doing was wrong. He did what he had to do to get out of it, and he's in a great place now. So if she could just possibly find it in her heart to just ignore everything that she just saw, it would do everybody a world of good. The problem is Janice can't do that. She's a cop, and she knows now that Barry is a murderer. She tells Barry to start making his way back up to the house, and Barry is pleading with her not to do this. And there's a reason for that. It's because he hid away a gun with a silencer on it. Barry has no choice but to kill Janice. He then goes off, hides her body somewhere, and gets back in bed in the wee hours of the morning as if nothing happened. And that is the end of Season 1 of Barry. Thank you so much for getting to this point of the recap. Check out my Season 2 recap of Barry. Tell your friends. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs down button. Leave me nasty comments in the comment section. You guys know what to do.